Hi, fourth grade team. I wanted to just explain in a video what Brittany and I had talked about for the third lesson plan of part 1, which I had mentioned in my email yesterday. It wasn't completely done yet, but now it is. And so you'll see in the slides, which is slide 20, there was a conversation Britt and I had about doing a choice board, like a hyperdoc for the students to continue to practice the skill of recognizing and valuing difference. They looked at some different, so in the lesson plan before this, it's where they would look at the 2 different traditions, the Afro-Colombian traditions, and explore that. And then what we talked about was having them continue practicing that actual value of inclusion and recognizing and seeing the difference in others. So we put together this choice board. Britt helped me with sending me a bunch of different resources that she had through Epic, and then I just did the organizing. So what kids would do here is, this is the main document, and they would get to pick a country: Mexico, India, Philippines, or Nigeria. And so, for example, if they chose the Philippines, it would take them to the next document, and then inside of that document they get 3 more choices. They could look at music and dance, food and culture, or special celebrations. So if they clicked food and culture, it would take them to another document, and there within that document are a couple of different links for them to explore. So like I said, Britt sent me some great resources from Epic, so some books and things that kids could read, and then I just curated different videos. I spent a lot of time trying to find what I thought were 4th grade appropriate videos. I made sure that everything was under 4 to 5 minutes attention span wise. Brittany had also sent me a couple of videos that she thought we could use. There's 1 or 2 videos in a couple of the countries that are a bit longer, because I really couldn't find much. So quick caveat, I had a really hard time finding good quality things for Nigeria. I think that's also just part of systems of oppression, and our global just anti-Blackness, and that African stories are not told as much. Sorry, little rant. But I had a hard time finding sources that I felt were credible about Nigeria. A lot of the stuff that I found was very savior complex and just portrayed poor, sad, impoverished children, which I found, not a narrative I want to necessarily continue. But I did find a couple of things, but some of the videos maybe are a little bit dense for kids, and so I just wanted to give that caveat. If the kids ended up here and decided I want to explore food and culture, some of them are a bit more dense because I just couldn't find great kid-friendly stuff for Nigeria, but I did my best in providing resources there. So yeah, there's so the idea would be that they would continue this practice of learning about different cultures by starting on this page, picking the one that they want to, and let's say they choose Mexico, and then they say, I want to learn about Mexican special celebrations. And yeah, that would be that. As far as what that actually looks like in terms of how they would share out, I think again, Britt and I talked about that depends on you guys and what you think is best for your kids and what expectations you would set for them about using the hyperlink doc, this choice board. Maybe they create a Flipgrid about what they learned, or they share out in class. Again, my perspective from 12th grade students, I could put them in breakout rooms and have them share, is very different than what makes sense for 4th graders. So, again, the final product here, what Britt and I talked about when we met on Monday was how they present their learning would be up to the teacher. I thought some good questions to close out this whole part 1 would be just, why does it matter to understand other people's practices? Really kind of getting the kids to think about the concept of inclusion without getting too wordy or heavy, and you don't have to over-intellectualize it and say inclusion is. But by answering these questions, they're kind of thinking about why does it matter to include other people's practices, and then kind of tying it back to building community. How might this practice be good for us as a community? Obviously, this is your guys' slideshow. Feel free to edit and change to what you think is appropriate. So I just thought that this choice board might be easier to explain in video, but yeah, everything is housed here. You can, if you want to edit anything or make it look more pretty and 4th gradified, but everything is housed in a separate folder that I created that says hyperlink stock. But the main board that leads to everything is in the main folder. I will tell you guys that doing this, I watched a lot of videos on Filipino food that made me want to now go cook all the Filipino recipes that my dad taught me. So if I do that, I'll invite you all over.